I'm live now. Okay, welcome, family. I got DOD here with us today, and we're going to be we're going to get in a discussion about exactly the meaning of fire and brimstone.
What's up? What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming. I appreciate you having me again, Lightbearer. Thank you.
All right. Let's see here. First, First of all, when I look at the scriptures and it talks about fire and brimstone, we all know that um, the Bible isn't to be literal in its meanings, but it is prophetic. So, being that it's not literal and it's prophetic, and that it is taken from one form and placed into a book of spells form, we're going to look at it from that point of view. We're going to look at it from both perspectives, basically. We're going to just look at it from both perspectives. Okay. And then we're going to put it in connection to a lot of things that we have going on as Black people in our society today. We're going to look at that and break down the different perspectives between the Caucasians and the indigenous us.
No, are you talking about cultural differences?
No, I'm talking about perspective on the sociology, the of being white versus being Black, and being vice versa, Black being versus being white. You know.
All right.
You know, from those two different perspectives. Because I think we touched on it some the other night, how the reverse racism and how everything gets turned around on us. But we're going to look at this and dig into this fire and brimstone first. According to the scriptures, which is Revelations 20, Revelations 20:10. Oh, excuse me, family. Revelations 20:10. I mean, 20:10. And it says, and the devil and the lived, because devil is lived backwards. So basically, hey, real Aaron, how you doing? What I should have used was really on this was the you brought this to my attention when you popped up, because the real Aaron Collins brought back a discussion that me and DOD had earlier. I think it was yesterday, DOD. We talked about Pinocchio, and I'm going to connect the dots in a minute. Okay. But remember that. Please hold that note for me, Pinocchio, because we're going to get into that as well. So, as it says in this book, chapter 20, verse 10 of Revelations, of the revealing. And the lived is what I call it, because it's always opposite. Everything's in the opposite. Who deceived them? Now understand that the lived deceived them and was thrown into the lake of burning sulfur. Hold on, y'all. Hold on, I'm so sorry.
Hey, what's going on, Aaron? Matt? Thanks, brothers, for coming through, man. If you guys have the capability, please go ahead and share this live stream out for Lightbearer so we can get some more people in. Hey, S. Weissman, how you doing? If you guys have the capability, please go ahead and share this out. Lightbearer will be right back. Should be back momentarily. Hope everybody had a great Saturday and everybody's weekend is going good. Everybody having a good weekend? Anybody do anything special today? Anybody go anywhere? Do anything? Anybody had to work today? I know some people work on Saturdays.
Okay, I'm back. Let me finish. Sorry. Okay. So they're saying, and the lived who deceived them was thrown in the lake of burning sulfur. Brimstone, excuse me, is sulfur, where the beast and the false prophet had been thrown. They will be tormented day and night forever and ever. Don't that sound like what we go through every day? Huh?
Like hell on earth?
Yeah, tormented day every day. Because when you think about, like, we're gonna look at what sulfur is. Hold on, let me get that.
No, sulfur is considered brimstone.
Yeah, sulfur is brimstone. I'm going to share my screen in a minute. Okay, what is it?
You're gonna share your screen?
In a minute, yeah, huh?
When you do share it, drop me down. That way you get the full screen.
You said drop you down?
Yeah. Or what you could do too, you see that big square at the end on the right hand side?
Mm-hmm. Hold on.
You can just click on that too, and that'll do a full screen.
Okay. Oh my goodness. This thing took me all the way to some other.
Hey, congratulations on that, Aaron, man. I like to see that. Is this something that we can see right now, Aaron? A preview or something?
You know that, okay, I'm gonna use this. This is good here, what I got on my screen. Okay. You said can I not put it on one of these other, maybe
Yeah, the square
yeah,
at the end. Yeah.
you mean the whole big square or the square with the two
The
people?
last one all the way to the right.
That will work better?
Yeah.
Okay.
You get the full screen.
Okay, share screen. Okay. Hold on. Ooh, do y'all see it?
No.
Okay. Let me go back because I must have not clicked on it. Okay. Oh, I didn't do share. Okay. Do y'all see it yet?
It's coming up. There you go. Yep, we see it.
Okay. Well, Caucasians have sulfur in their melanin. This is why they burn, of course. So we are literally in fire when the light, break down the word literal. We're speaking enlightenment. Enlightenment for our people, and we live in the light. I know what song I was gonna play for y'all. Oh my God, what happened to my phone? Okay. Sorry, guys. I'll just play this a little bit. I don't want to get, okay. Y'all remember this old school? Y'all hear it? In the sky. Living in the light. Stop the beat, drop the beat. Shut up, you be a thing. From another culture. You have to Living in the light. I love that. Yeah, that one goes out to Nubian Queen. I don't know if she's here tonight or not. I doubt it. It's probably what, late in England?
Yeah, it's like 4 in the morning there.
Yeah, that's when we had that soul explosion from Europe. You know, those
Yeah.
were the days. My husband knows those days well. He knew a lot of the entertainers over there he grew up with. So let's get into it. We had to survive living in this fire. All right. What I'm particularly looking at is the breakdown compound of their melanin in conjunction with our melanin. A lot of carbon in our melanin. Our melanin is able to absorb radiation with no problem. So
Now, why do they have sulfur in their melanin?
why do they have sulfur? Because they are created beings. They're not organic beings. And sulfur seems to be you remember Solomon Gomorrah in the scriptures as well?
Yep.
That was destroyed by fire and brimstone, fire and sulfur. So just like over here, just like all over the planet, it's been destroyed by fire and sulfur, which is the Caucasian race, figuratively speaking, because it is giving an indicator of what this brimstone is, that is destroying the world, that is keeping the lived in a state of torture. You see what I'm saying? Am I clear?
So far.
Okay. Because all of this, people take,
Now, ask the chat. Make sure they're clear on it.
okay. All of this, people tend to take literal. Okay, let me ask the chat now. I'm going to come back. I still got my screen shared, but I'm going to.
All you gotta do is just click it back over to the two figures. Leave it. You can
Okay.
leave it sharing.
I
Yeah, you can
stopped.
just click it back.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? You can go to the big square and then back up to the two, to the two people figure.
Okay.
That way you don't have to keep screen sharing.
Hey, S. Wiseman. Hey, Gab. Okay. Anybody in the chat? Do y'all understand thus far what I correlated together with the speaking on the fire and brimstone, not literally being fire and brimstone, but it is literally fire and brimstone in description, but it's symbolic to it being the Caucasian race. And does anybody have any do you understand that? Anybody have any questions before we go into the breakdown of their melanin, the breakdown of our melanin?
Aaron said they understand, so it looks like like there's no question, so it looks like they understand.
Okay,
And Zero just came in. He's Zero.
Zero, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be somewhere else, having a good
He
time.
said it's going dancing.
I thought so. Did you make up that story, Zero? Oh. Let's see, because that's where Eternal's out having his little. It's his Earth Day, Eternal's Earth Day. That's why he couldn't be here either. So, I won't do that to y'all on my Earth Day. I'll be right here. I have no place to go.
Well, thanks for coming through, Zero. Appreciate it, man.
Oh, okay. You just got home. All right, let's get into it. Let me share back the screen again with you guys. Okay, let's look at the breakdown. They said, what is melanin? The compound. Chemically, melanin is composed of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, with the word melanin being taken from the Greek word melas for black or dark, which refers to the group of natural amino acids pigment cells found in most living things, like plants. These amino acids, speaking of amino acids, I believe that's protein. But they like to substitute amino acids for protein to make us think also in our eating that we need to eat meat. But we don't necessarily need to eat meat on that. Okay. These, as you can see, we already make certain things. These melanin cells belong to a special group of pigment cells called melanocytes. Okay, the three basic types of melanin are uromelanin, black people, pheomelanin, all the other races of people on the planet, and neuromelanin, which is the melanin created in the brain. Uromelanin is the darkest and is made up of two kinds of melanin. You have brown uromelanin and you have black uromelanin. The third and lightest form of melanin is the pheomelanin, which can never go darker than maroon in color. The brain and central nervous system also contains melanin in the form of neuromelanin, which is critical for optimal brain and nervous system functions. Melanin in the human body. Melanin appears to be a critical and versatile part of the body's chemistry necessary to sustain its life itself, especially if its role in the central nervous system is considered. In addition to its importance to the brain and nervous system, functions like vision, melanocyte, also play a role in determining skin color or pigmentation. Melanin of skin pigmentation. Uromelanin and pheomelanin are the determinants of skin color or pigmentation. The specific skin tone produced depends on the person's DNA. Okay, if the DNA produces uromelanin, then a person will be between brown and black in skin tone. On the other hand, if the DNA produces pheomelanin, the individual considered will not be darker than maroon in skin color. It therefore seems the skin tone is determined not by the quantity of melanin, but rather the type of melanin a person's DNA can produce. Albinism results from the failure of melanin skin pigmentation cells. What happened? Let's see. Okay, I see. to bind to the surface of the skin or epidermis. Important to consider, though, is that your melanin or dark melanin contains a higher concentration of dark carbon atoms than pheomelanin. So we contain more dark carbon atoms. That's why we can absorb radiation better. As a result of higher concentration of that, okay. The main advantage of possessing your melanin is in the absorption of the sun's UV radiation. So we don't burn in the fire and brimstone. We don't have the brimstone. We don't have the sulfur in our blood type at all. If we had the sulfur, when we add the sulfur, that's why it's important. You know, a lot of our people are not educated about the difference between the black and the white. So that's why a lot of people think the white is better than the black. And we've been made to think that by the white. But the white doesn't even like being their color. They hate it. So when you hate yourself, all you do is seek to destroy everything. And you try to love yourself, but it's not real. The love that they have for themselves is not real. And that's what I was getting into about Pinocchio. Let me take a break from this and come back, and then we'll finish discussing all of this.
Remember what I told you?
What'd you say? Oh yeah,
the two figures.
Coming back to the. Oh, you said put it on the two figures. Okay, I'm coming back to the chat and talk about Pinocchio, family. Do y'all remember? Hey, Nikhil, how you doing, girl? Welcome tonight. Do y'all remember what Pinocchio, the story about Pinocchio and what he so wanted to be? What did he so want to be?
People in the chat, Light Bearer's asking you a question. What did Pinocchio want to be? Please give her an answer.
He wanted to be, yes, as Lasman, not just any boy, because he was already a boy. He wanted to be a real, literal boy. He wanted everything that a real boy, literal boy was. He wanted to be alive. He wanted to live, not be dead and die. You know, even though death for us is life. But Pinocchio had none of that. So let's get back to the screen share.
So what is your correlation?
What is the correlation?
Between white people and Pinocchio.
Oh, between white people and Pinocchio? You said between white people?
Hey, Monique, yeah.
Yeah, what it is they're not real. They're not capable of being real.
Okay. There you go. There you go. Hope everybody in the room understood what she was saying.
Yeah, their lack of, their emptiness. They don't have what we have. See, we have a connection with the fire, the sun. That's why they liken our men to the devil, the beast, because that's the way they see life, as being tormented in the fire. So what they did was they pretty much projected, they took a writing that totally means, put it in English, coded it. They coded it to mean something, unseen, to, because we can't see any of this if you come in at a literal, from a literal standpoint. You can see it, but you can't see it. You don't know quite what they're talking about. You like, what devil is living in the lake of fire? Or, and who, how, it doesn't even explain how this devil they're speaking of deceived the people. Okay, they're talking about Gog and Magog. Okay. And they're talking about the battle. Okay. But they do make all of this literal. Didn't they say for thousands Satan? Okay, basically the natters, because remember I said Satan was nothing more than natters, nature. So there would be a time when nature would be released from its prison. And I guess it would be a lie to nations in the four corners, and so that it deceived them. So it's saying that whoa. So basically they created, because it would totally mean the opposite in the old language, ancient languages, because it's more spiritual than it is literal. It's more the unseen, which is things like, instead of somebody literally being tortured, it's just we're living a life. We're living a non-living life, basically. We're not able to really live. We're not able to really, really live. That's what that means to me. We once lived, of course we know we once lived. We lived the way we were supposed to live, and the planet was in a much better condition at that time. We lived a long time too, as well. Death wasn't at our doors because we were immortal people. We're immortals. So Now we see that um, English just English basically messes up the whole thing. It um, it's a lot of codes. Okay. So basically, okay. So thrown into the lake of burning sulfur, living amongst living amongst a group of people. This is the way I interpret it. We're living amongst a group of people that are burning on a daily basis, burning with various different things. They can be burning with desires, they can be burning with from the sun, the fire, they can be burning with emotions. So they would be the burning sulfur. And then they say the beast and the false prophet had been thrown. But they what they call is they demonize the darkness. They demonize Black people. So anything we say is false. That is in contradiction to their way of seeing the world around them. If you're in opposition to the way they see their world, then you are a false prophet, you are a liar. And it says they will be tormented day and night forever and ever. So I'm thinking that it is the time that we endure, and it's all of this is pretty much just, to me, it's chemical, because we're in a chemical imbalance. I always often say we're in a chemical imbalance. And I just talked about the different melanins. I'm gonna go back to the melanin screen. Let me go back to share again. Okay. And I'm gonna finish talking about this. Okay, it says that of course we can absorb the fire, but they burn. Sulfur based people are burning. There may possibly be other metabolic advantages that can be derived from this greater conductive capacity of the sun's radiation as a source of energy for biological processes in the human body. Now we are above human. At this point, we should be, with this diseases and everything coming around, we should be trying to be above human with our kinky hair that not too many other people, not no one in other Caucasian races, which I'll put everybody other than ourselves in under the Caucasian word. Um, don't have the kinky tight hair. Not the real tight kinky hair. No. And they still, even if they do have the little thing, then they still secrete animal oil. I can prove that so that y'all don't think I'm talking out loud. But here, let me fix this. So I'm gonna be searching that real quick.
Hey, Aaron. Excuse me. Hey, Aaron Jacobs. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Monique Hill. Julia Spencer. Thanks for coming in. And Monique, I agree with you 100%, sis. 100%. All that they've done to our ancestors, all in the name of Jesus. F that Bible too. Please smash the like button for us if you haven't already. Lightberry will appreciate it. So would I. I know I've always had a question. How can white people think they're better when they can't even keep from burning in the sun? I mean, we have an added protection, an added defense. And I really don't even want to call it a defense. It's more of an absorption of the power of the sun that they don't have. We can absorb that power and use it. They burn under it.
This is why they keep us down. This is the lack of knowledge is, and they took, you notice how they took our knowledge away of self.
So I mean, just on that point alone, we're better than them.
I need to ask this question differently.
Yeah, Aaron, I was introduced to Nikki C the other night. I hadn't seen her either.
Okay.
I started checking out her videos on the other night.
Okay.
So she seemed pretty cool. I went on and subscribed to her. I'll keep checking her out. Hey, I am Goddess. Thanks for coming in. Smash the like button for us, please, if you haven't already. Welcome. Pull up a chair, relax, sit back, chill with the chat.
Okay. On this one, it tells us.
If you have the capability to share the live stream, please do so.
Yeah, it's more than just texture difference in our hair. And a lot of people don't understand that they secrete oils, but they secrete animal oil. Okay. Mm. I had found it at one time, but it seems like I can't find it no more. There was talking about something there about fats and stuff.
Yeah, Aaron, from what the one video that I did see, that she seemed pretty cool. I didn't finish it or anything like that, but she seemed okay. Like I said, I subscribe to her, so I'll keep checking her out. So now, Aaron, you were saying that you had other projects that you've completed. Are they on YouTube? And if so, can you drop us the links? Are you modded? Or could you tell us where to go to? Is it on your channel? Cause I would like to check some of those out. I didn't know you were doing short films. Are they like 30-minute films? Hour films? How long are they? Goddess, this is the first time I've seen you. Welcome. Thank you for coming through. Unless I know you by another name. Okay, cool, Aaron. I'll do that, man. I will definitely do that. How long are they? How many have you done? Hey, like, but if you can't find them, you might want to move on.
All right, I'm back. I'm back. Hold on. Okay, I'm ready to share this. Okay. So it says here, sebaceous gland. This is what Caucasians have. This is why their hair is the way it is. See, we don't secrete this. We don't secrete this from our hair. We have a whole different thing. We don't secrete this from our skin.
So what did it say about animals?
Okay, but sebum, what it is, it's called sebum. The oil. Okay, okay, here we go. A sebaceous gland is a microscopic exocrine gland in the skin that opens into a hair follicle to secrete an oily or waxy matter called sebum. See, Caucasians have sebum come out of their hair and their skin, their face, every place where they have hair. This is secreted. That's why they have a lot of bugs issues.
But you see what it says there, right? It says animals secrete sebum.
Oh, and it also says in humans, sebaceous glands occur in the greatest number on the face and scalp. But I also found here that they do have sebum. Let me see if I can find that again.
I'm glad you brought that screen up there, because how do white people shampoo work in black hair?
It doesn't.
Exactly. But why we keep buying it though?
Not all of us do that. Most of us
Right.
want to
But
know
those
how
that do
to
buy
use
it.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I don't use their shampoo at all. Um,
See, but a lot of black people don't know that.
mhm.
They buy their shampoo thinking it's working for their hair as well.
Because that's the reason why we think that they're better, because we were made to think that they're better in some kind of shape or form. But there's no such thing as better. They're different, but different doesn't mean better.
It damn sure don't.
But somehow we've been dumbed down into this language and the way of perspective, to this, left side of the brain, stuck in that left side of the brain thing going on. And that's the way we view life. We think that long fur is the thing to have, instead of loving our own, who we are as a people, loving ourselves and appreciating what we have. That's very tough to do in this society that is pushing whiteism, which is the
Now,
illusion.
now, Lightbearer, um, Matt wants to want the explanation as to why their hair is similar to animal hair. Now, you just explained it, but I guess he didn't get it. So we need to clear it up for the chat to make sure everybody understands it. The
Um,
sebum.
the sebum. Maybe this, now that I know the word, hair secretes sebum. They're the only humans that secrete sebum. Not only, see, the secrets of sebum production, maple holistics. Those glands are called sebaceous glands, and what they produce is a waxy, oily secretion called sebum. And is our body's, okay, sebum is our body's natural oil. It protects the skin from unwanted intruders, bacteria, fungus.
No, hold on a moment. Go back
Mhm.
to where it says sebum is our natural, or it's our body's natural. It's not our body's natural. It's their
No,
body's natural.
yeah, they secrete that. And then they have also excess sebum and hair loss issues. See,
So that's the difference, Matt. Is they produce the sebum.
they have a sebaceous gland, unlike we don't have, and that sebaceous gland is in hair skin of mammals. And a lot of times, I grew up, they were always calling humans mammals. That's what our science teachers would tell us, that the man is mammal.
I remember that. Yeah.
But we're not the mammals. And we're they would say that humans are mammals, but we're not humans. We are man. I know we are the manifestation of the cosmos, of the people of the cosmos. So uh, we are a manifestation of the cosmos. I say is in the mind, is the spirit world, the unseen. That's who we are. You know, from
And they say animals produce that sebaceous gland or have that sebaceous gland, whatever how you pronounced it, that
people.
gland.
Yeah, they have that sebaceous gland, and it occurs in greatest number on the face and scalp. How we know we don't have it? Um, we don't have animal fur. We don't. That's how you know your hair texture isn't of the Caucasian race. That's how you know. That's how we know we don't have none of this. Our skin, we know we in the smells. We don't smell like animals, do we? No,
Our hair don't gather lice.
no, it doesn't.
Their hair does because it's animal. It's like an animal. It's animal hair
It's fur. It's like that. Yeah,
or fur, right? It's not even hair, really, technically.
yeah. So they get it on the palms of their hands, soles of the feet, eyelids. Meibomian glands, also called tarsal glands, are a type of sebaceous gland that secretes a special type of sebum into tears. Okay, sebum buildup. Sebum, as mentioned above, is produced from the sebaceous gland. These glands are connected to the hair follicles and they release sebum from the same pores that produce hair. When excess oil is produced, the sebum has nowhere to go. This leads to buildup within the pore, known as sebum ball or plug. Their hair gets oily. You know, we have to add oils, natural oils to our hair. And they're usually organic vegetable oils and stuff like that that we get from plants. And we make from some of the fruits oils and stuff like that. But because they already produce an oil, they have this problem with the oily hair or oily fur. But you know what? Also, okay, I'm gonna go back here. One thing I realized about the Caucasian race, if they would allow themselves to be hairy, they wouldn't burn in the sun. Because animals have fur on their skin to protect them from the sun issues with the sun. This is why they have fur, animals do, is because it protects them from the sun. Any questions?
And as Wiseman say, they shed too.
Yeah, they shed a lot. Yeah, I think that's all part of the gland, that gland that they have, that their hair grows from. Like our hair sheds too. I know mine sheds a little bit. But usually when we comb and brush it is when we see our shed. It just doesn't just fall out on the floor. We usually have to, and that's just part of our hair growth. But for the most part, what we have going on with our hair is totally different, unless you're mixed race. And usually those mixed race children, they're either going to have more of the mother's, if she's Caucasian, more of the mother's hair type, or more of their father's hair type. If they have more of their mother's hair type, of course they're going to have those issues with lights, and they're going to have issues with the oily scalp, and a lot of other issues with that. So when people, this illusion that they formed for us to hate ourselves as Black people, and then to also, I wanted to go into the history. Why, my question would be like, why do you think they give us information about what they did to us, but they're not giving it to us in the form of what they did was wrong, but they're giving it to us like, look here, this is what we did to you, as if to berate us and to benefit from what they did to us, and to keep us in this position as we're under them and they're above us. So
like they took us out of trees and civilized us and all that old BS that they be trying to teach us.
yeah, instead of them using it as a lesson for, hey, we were wrong, we did this, we were the most horrible people at this time, but we did this. That would be the better way to come at it, instead of, look, we did this, these were the slaves, and just talking like it was normal to be done. You see what I'm saying? They're not
You
talking.
know I do. You need
They
to make sure
claim,
that the chat does.
yeah, they're claiming like it's a lesson, but lessons are supposed to be taught in a way where you're saying that this is not the way to be, that this is shouldn't have never been. But the way I see it is they're trying to provoke emotions within us as a people, and that is very important to take a look at and examine, because when I talk about emotions in our DNA, emotions is like kryptonite. You know, emotions is like kryptonite to us, because if they can evoke certain emotions with us and keep us in that perpetual state of emotions, various different emotions that keep us weak and not able to reach the height through our melanin that we need to reach and break free of their illusion, the matrix. Yeah, Matt, right. Um, but I don't believe their stories that we were here way before any Indians, Native Americans, any of that story that they make up. But they do all this to keep us at the bottom of their feet, because evidently we're on the top and we're much powerful and stronger. And that's why that's why 2010 reads the way it does. About the lived being stuck in a lake of fire and brimstone, burning brimstone at that. But we're in the fire, but we're not burning. But if you wanted to project off another group of people that didn't have to go through the things you had to go through naturally, you would put in your mind that they were burning in the brimstone. You would want them to burn in the brimstone, burn under you, in your control. Because we don't burn. We don't suffer. And naturally, basically saying that nature is the bad guy, because nature has a group of people that are special that don't suffer in nature. So nature is the demon. Nature is Satan. Satan. and that so they had to create a world, an illusion where the people who don't naturally suffer from anything now suffers. And the people who suffer, the brimstone that's burning in the lake of fire, has to turn it around and project on the lived who are connected to nature, who is rich, naturally rich by nature. And get them to think they have to suffer under this new, they call it the world order, but it's just the created illusion by this brimstone that is burning in a lake of fire. Matt said, so we have to figure out, let me see what he said. So we have to figure out exactly why I believe they know, which is why they took scriptures from the Bible and replaced it with their BS. Yes, exactly. Now, what did I do with my book? Oh, I didn't set it down here beside me. The notes came out. Yeah. But do we have to survive? Do we? No, we don't have to. We connect with the sun. It's not called survival for us, and they know this. We don't have to. We don't have to eat what they eat. Because we have a different makeup than they do. Yes, of course they know more about us. That's how they can keep us in a perpetual lie about ourselves. They can keep us trying to stay connected to them because we have such low such low thinking about ourselves and such high thinking about anything that looks other than black and with kinky hair. But we can't, ourselves can't even see that. You know, that's not my world. Because that's not my world and those people are totally different than me, I don't have no obligations to them, really. None at all.
And see, Matt, and this is why I always say that because of our melanin, because of our, if you want to say kinky hair, that makes us unique from all of them. If you do not have melanin and if you do not have kinky hair, then you're not a part of, of us.
Exactly.
And so that's what makes us unique and special. That's why they study us so hard.
Exactly. That's why they study us. and we don't
Right.
recognize it. A lot of our people want to change their skin color. They want to be in proximity with the whites. They want to be family members with them. They want to be, they just want to be close to them, in close proximity to them. They want to be as close as they can to whiteness. And so a lot of our people are dyeing their skin or bleaching their skin. And I think the worst thing I ever had was a Caucasian told me that I bleached my skin. And I was like, you can't really take their words or what they do and get emotional, because that's their goal, is to get us weak in emotion. Because that's the whole plan. That's why they have that book, the Bible, with all those things that are confusing and crazy that they're talking about in it. That they put into English translation that in another whole language would mean a whole different world of things. So, I can't take anything that they say in this language seriously, because it just, it's at a level. It's always going to be at a level. But the illusion,
Look, you should never take anything they say um, seriously. If they whatever they say about black people, they're normally projecting.
yes, majority of the time they're projecting. And it's at a level.
So
It's always,
right, and so don't ever think, because like I said, we're a special people. We have everything about us is special,
Mhm.
and it's actually above them, and they know it. So they do everything they do to try to to try to make it seem like we're not special.
Mhm.
That's what they try to do.
The Christ rising comes from within us. We have the crystals, we have the oil, the anointing. That's our soul, and that must rise. That's when you speak of the Kundalini, the raising of our Christ, our inner Christ. And I said last video on your show that about the heaven inside, and how it's a feeling unlike any feeling, but we have it inside once we can connect to our souls, connect back to our souls. We've been so separated from our true high self. We've been given a fictitious God outside of ourselves, literally, lit in light. They play with our minds and gave us a God outside of ourselves. They brought everything outside of us, and when it's all inside of us. And main thing I try to do on my channel is to connect us back to our higher self, and to realize that that's our God, that's our spirituality, what was within us. And then once we can work on that and rebuilding ourselves as individuals, the objective is for us to be able to work together as a whole again.
And see, and what they do too, they take our greatest strength and use it against us, and that is because we are caring people.
Mhm.
And they take that strength that we have, and they use it against us.
You see, our men, we talked about this Friday night. Our men are so destroyed because they intentionally seeked out to destroy our men. They seeked out, because you destroy our men, you destroy the black community, the whole as a whole. You destroy black people as a whole, because you're gonna have men out here doing all kinds of stuff and saying all kinds of stuff to destroy themselves. and that's what they do. They destroy themselves and they don't even realize that the enemy, that opposition to their existence has caused them to destroy themselves. So we have little minor issues like we're worried about. Like I remember I was gonna bring down the whole world around me due to me not knowing my biological father. But it reached a point in my life where I had to come to grips with that. And it kind of naturally happens. But a lot of women still worry over that or are upset about that, not knowing. A lot of us don't know who our fathers are. And a lot of people have those issues in the Black community. But that is way thing of the past for me. That's like beneath me stuff. Now that I know myself and who we are as a people, that's minute issues. Me being sexually abused as a child is a minute, it's a small, tiny issue. It's just anything, these Caucasian beasts are small issues compared to what I need to do, to help my people to come out from the world. That's what I call it. I just call it the world, you know, because the world right now is dying and getting sick constantly. The world out there is creating wicked schemes to kill people. The world out there is using money to manipulate people. The world out there is doing all kinds of things to get money. The world out there is imbalanced. And it's created by imbalanced people who want to claim otherwise. So they have to create the scenario that looks like it's a balanced scenario, but it's not. By no means is it. So I talked about Oprah the other night and I said she's doing witchcraft on the people. That's how she gets her money. That's how she made her money. All these years from the 1980s, early 1980s, her first show. And you can see if we go back to her first show, she looked very corporate.
Have a good night, S. Wiseman. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, S. Wiseman. Good night, sister. Okay. This is Oprah's one of her first shows. I'm gonna share the screen here again. This is one of her first shows here. Share. Okay. Oprah's first show. And it looks very corporate, very, very Caucasianist, if that's a word. But at this time she had a handler or under control by over had someone over her at that time because she was in the beginning of a new show. So this was her first show. in 1986 in New York City. Of course, we know the background of Oprah. She was the reporter in a small town, in some other town, who was crying on the in a news report when she was reporting news. She was emotional, right, family? She was very emotional, and let me stop sharing this. And I think a big deal got made of her crying on the television. I'm not going to be too much longer. And that's how she got noticed. She's a broken woman. And of course, you know, her whole story came out eventually, but that's what happened. So now she's the pillar, I guess, the pillar of Black society, Black community, because she's made the most money than any Black person ever. And she did the show. But this is what we allow them to define to us success and who is successful. When success is more than that for us. Success is supposed to be more than that for us. We live by spiritual principles and to keep ourselves balanced. But in this society, it's a lack of balance and a lack of principles. So therefore, that's why you see our people in the conditions that we are in, because they're controlling our food, they're controlling everything over us. So therefore, you can't live on principles and balance with them. At least this is what they don't want to see. Because we can, as we know, we can live on principles and balance. But when it comes to them, they don't want to see a Black person of principles and balance. Anybody?
And Matt, yeah, to answer your question, yeah, King's World did have the rights to Oprah, and that was started Harpo Productions.
Hey, Monique. Yeah, Grand Moon to all. Let the ancestors visit. Yes, definitely. And I'm going to be shutting it down here. And I want to thank all of you for coming through and listening. I hope this has been insightful because I'm trying to get us to understand that it's not because we don't like them because of their color. We have nothing to do with that. We have nothing to do with that nonsense. They did it to us as a people. What they know they did wrong to us. They brought us lower than to a lower level than we are. And then they put us under their control. And then they tried to have us stuck in that level mentally and spiritually. And when you're stuck in that level mentally and spiritually, you don't rise. We don't go to the next level of life. We either stuck feeling like something we didn't get to do, we need to do, or we're actually doing what we put here on earth to do, our purpose, and moving on away from um, that energy, because that energy is the most horrible energy that I have to endure, you know, that we have to endure is that energy. We know that energy because that energy is that left mind thinking that a lot of our people do and a lot of their people live by, live in. And when you're in that, y'all know how it feels to be in that energy, around that energy. It's horrifying, it's horrible. And, you know, when we can sense that energy, we need to know that's our intuition telling us there's that energy. You have to get away from it or steer clear of that energy because that energy is going to come to you and it's going to jump on your life and jump into you. But if you're aware of that energy also, it won't bother you as much because you know you're bigger than that their energy. You have the understanding that this is low energy I'm encountering and I'm up here and I'm over it. I am sincerely over it and I know what it is. You know what I'm saying? So, but you can, it's the thing about it, it's so thick and so strong, this horrifying energy at times, that that's what it is that I don't like is their energy they create. It's the energy they have come up off of them. And it's the energy that they have created for us amongst our people, and our people carry that energy around with them. But that makes it so they can have their heaven on earth. So they're over there having their heaven on earth while they gave off their energy to amongst our people.
Correct, and telling us that we have to die first to get to be able to go to heaven. They get their heaven on earth. We got to die to get ours.
Exactly. It's the opposite. We need to change. We really, really, truly, our people need to realize they're broken and reconnect with their souls again. Get out of this religion that's a lie, that's backwards. It got us worshiping things outside of ourselves instead of understanding the things that are within ourselves, that our ancestors are actually part the blood we're blood connected. They're in our DNA, they're in our cells. So that's what happens. When our people pass, they go back in us. So we are our ancestors. Our ancestors are made up us. After they passed on, lived again within us. You know. So with all that said, nothing is the way these people try to make it out to be. And we just have to remember who we are and who we were and live in the nowness, in the now, and not get so emotional, wrapped up in our emotions, like watching a movie and crying. Even that slight distraction is weakening us. So we have to our thing is to tackle those feelings and try to see that movie that once made us cry, try to see it differently and not cry and not allow our emotions to take over us. So, with that said, family, anything that you want to say, DOD, last?
Yeah, just before we leave, are there any questions? So we can make sure everything is clear before we get off this live stream tonight. So if anyone have any questions, now is the time. And Lightbearer, I want to thank you again for a great show, for the lessons that you taught tonight. Like I said, for me, it makes perfect sense what you're saying. I just want to make sure everybody in the chat understands, and I'm quite sure most of them do, if not all. They pretty much understand what you're talking about. But I just want to make sure everything is clear. And I'm not seeing anybody answering or asking any questions, so I would think everybody understood what was going on. I know Matt had the one question, but I think we cleared that up. You answered that. You answered that question pretty well. So
it's not about what we see on the surface. It's about what they're doing on the surface to get us to lose what's deep within us, the unseen, the spiritual part of us. It's about what they're doing on the surface to bound us. And that's not understanding. A lot of our people not knowing that. A lot of our people not having the inkling or the clue of that. I could talk to my mom. She's not there. She's just so stuck in religion and what they say in the Bible.
So it seems everybody in the room is pretty much clear about what you were saying tonight.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Monique. Thank you, S. Wiseman.
I want strawberry.
And thank you, real Aaron Collins. Go get it. And I am Goddess for stepping in. Yes.
It's too dark.
Zero, thank you for coming in.
Yes, Zero, thank you.
Aaron Jacobs.
Yes, thank you.
Julia Spencer. And anyone that was watching from the clouds.
Yes, anyone from the clouds, thank you. And I hope next
Gab.
time you can join us.
Yep, Gab came through. Thank you, Gab.
Thank you, Gab. So with that said, true love, real peace, and the higher self within our soul. Until next time, family.
Have a good night, Lightbearer.
Good night.